Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back in unison after a lengthy absence here with Doc, Brian, and Randy. Tonight we're going to do a Mount Rushmore of 2000 movies. That's the year 2000 through 2009, the first decade of the 2000s. The years will be according to the Internet Movie Debate database or IMDb. Whatever that year is, that's what we're guys. Don't have discrepancies. Hopefully everything will fall in line. Tonight's order is going to be Doc, Brian, Randy, and myself. We're going to go 1 year at a time, starting with 2000. We're going to go all the way through 2009. And at the end, we're going to have our Mount Rushmore of the decade. So we'll see. That'll be interesting to see what four films come out on top. Doc, let's jump right in, man, and knock these boys out. What do you got for the year 2000, your Mount Rushmore?
My Mount Rushmore. So these are my favorites, watchables, however I want to put it. Lots of good movies come out in the 2000s here, so I'll just bring them off as I go. So, year 2000. I'm not going to put them in order because there's something at the end of this thing that will have some order to it.
Right.
I'm a sub guy. 571 is going to make my top four for that year, man, for sure.
Awesome.
Just a great rewatchable sub movie for me, man. The epic revenge flick Gladiator is going to make my top four. Comedy Oh Brother Where Art Thou on the Coens, and it's still holds up, man. 26 years later, it's still a freaking hilarious flick, man. It's got a lot of great scenes in it. And my other one I'm going to drop in my list, I am going to put Unbreakable in my list, actually, from M. Night Shyamalan. I like the second movie in his trilogy, out of the gate. So one just missed, but I got to go on my rewatchable list here on how I do things. So maybe not the best movie.
That's the way to do it. Very good. Perfect. All right, Brian, what do you got tonight?
Let's see. I've got for the year 2000, Doc and I, we got a couple here. I've got Gladiator as well. I think outstanding performances, especially from Joaquin Phoenix as the Emperor. I've got Requiem for a Dream, which is not a highly rewatchable movie, except for maybe there's like one or two scenes in there where most guys might go back to. But it's a pretty heavy film and a lot of parts, and but I think it's a powerful film and it's worth mentioning. I've got Oh Brother Where Art Thou as well, Doc. I think it's an all-time classic. The Coen brothers, are able to kind of meld genres a little bit with this one. It's kind of a retelling of the Odyssey from a kind of a Midwestern sort of perspective. And I got M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable, Doc, as my fourth film. I think it's underrated for his films. I think a lot of people were expecting something like The Sixth Sense or Signs, and then Unbreakable comes along, which is maybe can be categorized as a comic book movie, but it really isn't at all. It's something a little bit extra, and I think it's underrated. So I put it in my top four.
Right on.
Very good. Very similar list.
Yeah.
And I love Requiem for a Dream, but it was my number 5. It just got squeezed out, but I'm glad you included it. Great movie. All right, Randy.
Well, matches here, but I got Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, directed by Ang Lee. It's hard to call a martial arts film beautiful, but this one certainly is.
Yeah.
And I've got Gladiator 2 as well, and then I got Almost Famous, directed by Cameron Crowe. I always think about this movie because Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Lester Bangs.
Yes.
And when I was a kid, I wrote into Rolling Stone complaining about one of his reviews, and they actually published it. But years later, I think he was probably right. I won't say who it was.
Okay.
And then I have Oh Brother Where Art Thou as well.
Right on.
Nice.
Wow. So those two, Oh Brother and Gladiator, got a lot of play, and I left them both off my list. Anyway, here we go. I've got Memento, Christopher Nolan's psychological thriller about Guy Pearce, who is unable to form long-term memories. It's told in reverse order. I just think it's an interesting movie. Next up is Castaway, the Tom Hanks, Robert Zemeckis directed film about a survival after a plane crash on a deserted island. I get hooked in every time I see that flick. Number 3 is Traffic, directed by explores the illegal drug trade in the United States from different points of views, whether it be the drug users, cartels, traffickers. Great all-star cast too, including Don Cheadle, Michael Douglas, Benicio del Toro, and others. And my favorites is Almost Famous. Randy had it. Cameron Crowe's autobiographical story about a young 15-year-old on the road writing for Rolling Stone magazine. A killer soundtrack, great cast. Philip Seymour Hoffman, perfect. Frances McDormand, Kate Hudson, just tremendous. So that would be rounding out my Mount Rushmore for that year.
Wow. Hey,
right.
R.I.P. Wilson. I mean, great performance by the volleyball. Castaway.
One of the best by a ball.
One of the best. One of the best by spherical object. Yeah.
No question. All right. And that farewell scene to Wilson's one to remember. That's a tearjerker, man, when he's floating away with the handprint. All right. 2001. Doc.
Some of these movies were just epic when I saw them in the theater, man. I think they're fantastic and so well made. So I'm not gonna shy away from them, man. The Fellowship of the Ring from the Lord of the Rings series, my top 4.
Absolutely.
You know the love I have for Training Day. That was an easy make for me to get in 2001.
Right.
Acting top notch, man. Underrated flick in some senses in the genre, but Black Hawk Down, man, is a great flick, man. I had a tough time keeping it off my list to the point where I couldn't. So I got Black Hawk Down, and my underrated movie that I just go to, and I think it's really, really well done. And it's Enemy at the Gates, man. I think that's a fantastic flick. And in that war genre, it just always hits with me, man. That's making my top 4.
Good picks.
Thank you.
Very good. I love Black Hawk Down. That's a good call.
Thank you.
Very good.
Nice.
All right, Brian.
I'll go with the for 2001. The one that Doc and I have in common is Fellowship of the Ring. I think it really kind of set the whole tone for the entire trilogy. How well made it was, and all the different elements that went into making the film to kind of make that world kind of come together. I thought was excellent. I've got Spirited Away, anime film. Just my favorite anime film. Really great story there, and certainly animes are not going to appear on a whole lot of lists for anybody, but I'm a big fan of this movie. I've got Artificial Intelligence on my list, which is a movie that Kubrick was supposed to make and ended up getting finished by Spielberg instead. Kind of a interesting movie about a little boy who aspires to be a real human boy because of his affection and love that he had for his mother. And I put that in quotations at the beginning of his existence. And then I've got just a little bit of a psychological movie, Donnie Darko, with Jake Gyllenhaal here. Really surreal movie that's kind of filmed in a non-sequential way that, I watch it multiple times and you really don't get everything. And even now, I don't fully understand everything that's going on in the movie, but for some reason, it just keeps drawing me back to it to try to get something new out of it every time. So that's my 4th one.
Very good. Okay, Randy.
I'm also there with the Fellowship of the Ring. I have that on my list as well.
Right on.
Then I have some other ones. I've got Gosford Park, directed by Robert Altman, kind of like an upstairs, downstairs murder mystery, which I thought was really interesting. Also have David Lynch's Mulholland Drive, although some of me just kind of goes, what the hell did I just watch kind of thing to it. I still find it very interesting. And then you either love them or hate them, but I've got the Royal Tannenbaums with Wes Anderson.
Right.
Gene Hackman and this dysfunctional family.
That was right there for me. That was my number 5 was the Tannenbaums.
Yeah. Very good. Let me go. I've got a heavy kind of a family drama and pretty intense. In the Bedroom, starring Tom Wilkinson and Sissy Spacek. I just like the movie. It's not necessarily rewatchable, but I think it's very well made and well acted. Also, I've got A Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe, directed by Ron Howard, about a Nobel Prize winning mathematician who happens to be a schizophrenic, and the beautiful Jennifer Connelly in there as well, which is eye candy for those who care about such things. I also have The Royal Tenenbaums on my list. The dysfunctional family comedy drama. It's probably in my top 3 Wes Anderson movies of all time. Again, Gene Hackman, Angelica Houston, Bill Murray, Ben Stiller, Gwyneth Paltrow, great cast. And like Brian, I have AI, artificial intelligence, directed by Steven Spielberg. You know, I'm not the biggest sci-fi guy, but this one worked for me. And Brian mentioned Kubrick was originally going to be his baby, and then he passed away late in 1999.
That's right.
Spielberg took over the reins, got Jude Law and Haley Joel Osment in the lead role. So I just think this is a well-made flick, and it is fun. It's interesting to watch, especially today with all this AI stuff coming out. It was a look to the future, I guess. So
yeah,
that rounds out my list. Now we're moving on to 2002. Doc.
2002. I'll stick with a little bit of a theme here for a 3-year run, but I got the Lord of the Rings, man. I'm going to stick with it. I got the Two Towers as the series continues. Again, an easy top 4. This is peak for me, man. Movie making style, at least, and storytelling. I'm a big fan of the Bourne series, man. Bourne Identity is going to drop in for me as well. Rewatchable for sure. I mean, that's an easy drop.
Yeah.
Man, Daniel Day had to make it, so he's going to pop somewhere. So it's Gangs of New York. Going to come in on my list. I had a tough time with my number 4, man. I'll tell you that. But I am going to drop Spider-Man in as my number 4. And it's the beginning of the kickoff of that comic book hero or whatever, something I grew up with too. And I thought, to be honest with you, it was so well made. It had a lot of campy and great comic book side to it. And don't have a lot of that kind of stuff in my list, but that one's going to make it.
Yeah.
Good one. Very good. That's a good Doc list. Very entertaining.
I hope they all are, man.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Some years are, we didn't mention, but I think there's 1 or 2 weak years in here.
Yeah, there is.
That I would, but not necessarily this one. Go ahead, Brian. What do you have? 2002.
2002. Doc and I agree here on a couple. Again, I got the Bourne Identity here.
Right on.
I think it kind of set the tone right off the bat for the series to have multiple sequels. Even the one that had Jeremy Renner was actually pretty good. But this one here, I liked it. Kind of set the whole premise going forward. I've got Gangs of New York as well. Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio, Liam Neeson. Just all great performances across the board. Very, very gritty Scorsese flick, just like you would expect it to be. I've got the Minority Report from Spielberg here. Mm-hmm. I love the premise of the movie. Basically, a pre-crime unit where you can arrest people before they commit the crimes. And then Tom Cruise's character is, wrongly accused, and he has to set things in motion to try to prove his innocence. And I just recently watched this film with Adrian Brody, the pianist. I really love that film. It was a powerful film. Really just it pulled me right in right away. And I only seen it just a few months ago. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I watched it. I don't know how it missed it way back when, but I got it on my radar now. That's all that counts. So
sure is.
Yeah. That's excellent. Yep. All right, Randy.
I've got actually 2 Spielberg films on here. I got Catch Me If You Can, which about the guy that changes identities all the time and they're after him, and Minority Report, like you said, a pre-crime unit that what could go wrong. Yeah. And I have the Bourne Identity. I love a good action thriller, especially anything that's espionage or conspiracy. I was trying to think of conspiracy. Right. And then I've also got M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, kind of deals with aliens and faith, and that would be my other one.
Good picks.
Oh,
very good.
We got some different ones here, but I do have one that you guys all have, which is cool, and that's the Bourne Identity, the action thriller.
Right on.
Matt Damon, fantastic. First installment of the franchise. It is a rewatchable for sure. I think it might be the best of the series. I know that I'm not much of a sequel guy. I've seen them all, but I really like the first one. It sets the tone, and it's really good. My other film here is Insomnia, with Christopher Nolan directing, a psychological crime thriller set in Alaska. Good cat and mouse between Al Pacino and Robin Williams. I think very, very cool. Next up, I've got 25th Hour, Spike Lee's outstanding film, with first-rate performances from Ed Norton, Barry Pepper, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Brian Cox as well. Just a tremendous movie. Filmed right after 9/11. You can see from the window a shot of the bombed-out area. Very moving. And probably my favorite movie of the year of 2002, and that's Road to Perdition. Crime drama set in the Great Depression. Sam Mendes directed it. Tom Hanks stars, and Paul Newman's last, I guess he was in Cars, but it's the last performance he ever gave. So that means a lot to me. So I'm going to put that on my list as well.
Excellent. That the graphic novel it's based on is incredible too. Great. They did a very excellent job of converting that to the film. It's great.
Yeah, Daniel Craig, people later know as Bond. He plays a role in there as a villain as well.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's move on to 2003, Doc.
As a quick side note, I probably would have taken Spider-Man off if I would have. I got like 10 movies written down for 2002, and I don't have Road to Perdition. I would have had that on my list if you want.
Okay.
So, but we'll jump to 2003. Here comes some QT, I guess. A little fun action thing with Kill Bill Volume 1 is going to jump in here for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to end the trilogy here on the Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, which might be the best of the whole series. I only talk about it so much. If you got 9 hours or 10 hours of your life, watch the series. That's what I would say. But,
right.
And the other two get a little heavier, but they're fantastic, and I think they're awesome movies, man. Mystic River is in my top 4.
Mm-hmm.
And The House of Sand and Fog, which I don't think gets a lot of love, and it's a fantastic flick.
It really is good.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent.
Agree more. All right, Brian.
Here's one here that Doc, I know this must have been 5th on your list, Doc. I've got Lost in Translation.
That was right there.
I figured it was right there. I thought maybe you just forgot to mention it. Maybe it's skipped over. But I like this movie for some reason. I just go back to it all the time, and I like Murray's performance in it, and Johansson's as well. I've got Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl.
There you go.
Highly rewatchable film. Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow is just one of the most iconic characters ever put on film. Just incredible. I don't really care for some of the sequels that were put out later on. I thought they were lazy, but this one here is great. I've got Mystic River as well, Doc. Heart-wrenching film, powerful performances from Sean Penn and Tim Robbins, Kevin Bacon, just outstanding. And then I've got The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise here. Something about the film that just keeps drawing me in, and I just enjoy rewatching it. About an old military person who gets commissioned to go assist the Emperor of Japan with dealing with his feudal samurai problem that he has, and who are resistant to the changes of the new world and the Western influence that it's having on their country. So good movie.
Right on.
Very nice. All right, Randy, 2003.
See, I also have Lord of the Rings, Return of the King on here, the final installment. And I also have Kill Bill, the first one with Quentin Tarantino. Just Uma Thurman's just great in this movie, and I love the non-linear storytelling.
Yeah.
Then I also have a film the critics don't care for that much, but I just love the kind of the unique environment they created, and that's Underworld, kind of a new look at werewolf movies.
Yeah.
And then I have Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, with Peter Weir directed. Just amazing cinematography in that.
Yeah, I thought Kate Beckinsale in leather that's got my vote right there, Randy. We're good for Underworld.
Okay, I've got a couple that have been mentioned. I've got Master and Commander, Far Side of the World as well, directed by Peter Weir. Napoleonic War times, Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany. Cinematography, fantastic, realistic. I liked it a lot. My next one's a quirky kind of friendship story. The Station Agent with Peter Dinklage, Bobby Cannavale, and Patricia Clarkson, who meet in sort of Nowhereville in New Jersey at a train station. He's the station agent, and they form an unlikely friendship. I always enjoy that one. Like Brian, I'm a big fan of Lost in Translation. I've got it on my list here. Directed by Sofia Coppola, Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, kind of an unlikely romance among the alien nation over in Japan. It works for me. And my other, if I couldn't leave off the list, is Mystic River, directed by Clint Eastwood, one of his best, with 3 first-rate performances by Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, and Kevin Bacon. 3 friends whose lives intertwine 20 years after this traumatic event happens, and they all intersect together to figure out a crime that's been committed. So just a tremendous movie. I didn't read the book, but I love the film. All right, let's go to 2004. Doc.
2004. I'll stay on the QT train here and drop in the sequel, which I like a little bit more than the first. So I got Kill Bill Volume 2. I find that one just a little bit better would rank it higher in the QT filmography myself. I told you, a big fan on that Bourne series, man. Bourne Supremacy is going to drop in here as well for entertainment.
Yep.
I said not all these years are going to pop out at with fantastic runs here either, but some good movies in here. I got Cruise's Collateral in my top 4. It's friggin' what a dark, great side of Tom that you don't get to see too often, and this is where he really shows a really powerful side, man, and just no holds barred here, man. Underrated comedy for me, man. I'll watch it anytime it's on. Shaun of the Dead. I think it's fantastic, and it's going to be my top 4 because I'm going to have to mix it up here.
Yeah. Good pick.
That was a curveball. I didn't see that one coming. Very good. Yeah.
Sure.
All right, Brian.
Some comedy, some love.
2004.
For me, I've got Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think a really good performance, from Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey, which Jim has given some really good performances over the year and just never gets any credit for it. Doc, I also have Shaun of the Dead here.
Right on, buddy.
I think, you got to, that duo goes on to make other films like Hot Fuzz and stuff, but just something hilarious about their take on the zombie genre that was really big during this time with various things like The Walking Dead and Dawn of the Dead. All that stuff was reissued. I've got Garden State, which is the independent film by Zach Bromf, the guy who lead from Scrubs series. It's got some really good performances by him. Natalie Portman and Bill Skarsgård is also in it as well. Some really good performances there, and just a slice of life type of movie. Also a great performance by Ian Holm in it. And rounding out my top 4, I've got The Butterfly Effect, kind of a personal favorite of mine. I got Ashton Kutcher, who has the unique ability to project his consciousness into the past selves and his past, and make slight alterations to alter the future, not realizing that sometimes even making the smallest of changes can have massive effects across time. Thus the butterfly effect, chaos theory. So great film, good premise.
Yeah, underrated. All right, Randy.
All right, I got a couple of part 2s on mine. I have Kill Bill 2 here with even more mayhem in this one. and I've got Spider-Man 2, which I actually like better than Spider-Man 1. It's Raimi directed. And usually not big on tragic tales, but I have $1 Million Baby, Clint Eastwood film on here. And then I have kind of a dark comedy, Sideways, directed by Alexander Payne, where an offhand comment actually hurt Merlot sales for something that was said in this movie. As they go through the wine country in California. That was a unique film.
Excellent.
Right. I had a hard time leaving $1 Million Baby off my list. Probably finished 5th. It was just on TV a couple weeks ago. It still holds up for me. I have a different Natalie Portman movie. I love Garden State too. Good call on that, Brian. But I put Closer on here. Kind of
Nice.
romantic drama, directed by Mike Nichols, starring Julia Roberts, Jude Law, Natalie Portman, and Clive Owen. These sad characters, beautifully written and well acted. I think it's really solid. And then the much maligned Crash. I had to put it on my list. I like the film.
Yeah.
I know the critics really ripped it, but it explores racial tensions in L.A. with Sandra Bullock and Don Cheadle, Matt Dillon playing a racist cop. You may not like the character, but it's probably pretty realistic, and I thought it was well done. Next up, I've got The Aviator. Martin Scorsese directed it. Leo DiCaprio as Howard Hughes, the eccentric tycoon. And Sideways. I also have Sideways on my list, Randy. Alexander Payne's dramedy, I guess it is, set in California in the wine country. Paul Giamatti gives a top-rate performance. Virginia Madsen, really lovely as that, and Thomas Hayden Church as the sidekick, who's kind of goofy, but a solid flick. There we go. Let's get into the next half here. 2005.
I'll start off. Star Wars actually has gone away for a while. It came back then. Their second part of the second trilogy with Revenge of the Sith, which I think is the best of that series, if you want the truth. I kind of like the ending of that part when Vader turns into Vader, if you want the truth, and it brings you back to a little bit more childhood. So 2005 was somewhat a little weaker in my opinion, so it was easy to drop this one in. Like I said, but still some good movies. War of the Worlds is quite the entertainment movie, man. If we're gonna have like an action flick, I'm gonna drop that on at that time. So Spielberg makes a couple in here. I got War of the Worlds, and I'm gonna drop that behind Munich as well, which I think is an underrated drama that happens there during the Olympics. It's fantastic, man. Munich's a really good movie, man. And I'll round up my top four with A History of Violence. I think it's just a great flick, man. I don't know, tear acting again, man. And really good bad guys, really good violence too. So got a sweet spot for me.
Yes. I like both. I like those last two, your History of Violence and Munich. Both have been on my list, but didn't quite get there. All right,
cool.
Brian.
Yeah, for me, I've got starting it off. I've got Sin City, based on the Frank Moore graphic novel. Yep. I think the interesting choice of kind of comic bookish, black and white, sporadic mixed with live action and hand drawn stuff. It made a very interesting movie. Some really great performances in there, especially from Clive Owen and Benicio del Toro's character, and Mickey Rourke's character as well. Very interesting. 40-Year-Old Virgin, my first comedy, I think I even mentioned there, but it's an all-time classic movie. Just some of the comedy sequences in there is just incredible, and I wanted to give some comedy some love. Two movies that I've just watched again here recently. I've got Cinderella Man. I think it's an incredible boxing movie about James J. Braddock and his comeback and the defeat of the infamous Max Baer. And I've also got History of Violence here, which is based on a graphic novel. I just think that it's a very underrated flick. Doesn't get a whole lot of credit for being as good as I think it actually is.
Right on.
And I think some really great performances from, as small as they are, Ed Harris's character is really great.
Yeah.
I don't know what weird Philadelphia accent that William Hurt's supposed to have in that, Rich, but I was like, whatever, it works. It's kind of quirky, and it makes his character stand out all the more. So I liked it. So
that's some short screen time that William had there, right?
Good stuff. Always good to get William Hurt in there, no matter what. I think he's
incredible. Yeah.
All right, Andy, 2005.
I also have David Cronenberg's A History of Violence, so it's the third one now.
Right on.
Nice.
And then I've got another thriller, The Constant Gardener, directed by Fernando Meirelles. It's set in Kenya. I also have Sin City, Robert Rodriguez. Like you said, it's a comic book kind of come to life. And the last one I have is Good Night and Good Luck, George Clooney playing Edward R. Murrow. Looking at Edward R. Murrow and CBS, which has fallen a lot since then.
Yeah.
Very
True.
good.
Yeah.
All right, I actually stuck a documentary in here called Grizzly Man is my one of my picks here, directed by Werner Herzog. Kind of a harrowing documentary about this bear enthusiast who ends up getting eaten alive, and this guy captures it. Just a tough film to watch, but at the same time, it's hypnotic. I've got an offbeat comedy drama, The Squid and the Whale, starring Jeff Daniels and Jesse Eisenberg. Always it's kind of a likable throwaway kind of film, but it pulls me in. I've got Woody Allen's Match Point here is one of my favorites from 2005. A non-comedy, a psychological thriller that Woody pulls off with Scarlett Johansson as well. And probably my favorite movie of 2005 is Capote, an in-depth look at Truman Capote researching the killings that lead to his book In Cold Blood. Philip Seymour Hoffman won the Oscar for that portrayal, and deservedly so. Let's go to 2006.
I'll drop them in. I'll just bring them off. My favorite in the series, I got Mission Impossible 3. It's my favorite in that series. I think the series is fantastic, and it's always been entertaining us for 40 plus years. I'm going to drop in Inside Man. It's a great flick from Spike, and that's I just love, a lot of scumbags in that movie, man. So it's pretty good too. Stuff. Clive Owen's really good. Probably my favorite still. So I just can't get out of it. And I don't know, maybe it's biasing recency of 2006, 20 years later, but Casino Royale, man. I think it's fantastic. And Pete Bond, what an intro for Daniel. Easy, on my list. The Departed's on my list for 2006, man. That was no brainer. Lots of good movies actually. 2006 was not a bad year, man. So some tough leave off.
Really good year. Okay, Brian.
I've also got The Departed, Doc. I think top-rate performances across the board with Nicholson, Wahlberg, Leo, just incredible cast all the way through. I've got Children of Men, starring Clive Owen, dystopian story about how suddenly we're unable to conceive children, and it's kind of highlights this one woman that comes along all of a sudden who's pregnant out of the middle of nowhere, and Clive is trying to get her to safety across a city that's basically falling apart. Little Miss Sunshine, just some really interesting performances here, especially from Paul Dano and Alan Arkin's incredible in it as well. Just really another one of those slice of life kind of movies where it just shows the abnormalities of the family dynamic and how interesting all those things play against each other, but still show the love of the family. And I've also got Inside Man. I think it's one of Spike's best. Great performances from Denzel and Clive Owen here, and Jodie Foster, and Christopher Plummer. Just some really great stuff in there. So I had to mention Inside Man.
Excellent. I'm glad you guys both picked that because I overlooked Inside Man, and it probably should be on my list. All right, Randy.
Yeah, I just want to make a correction first, and because all I wrote down for Good Night and Good Luck was George Clooney, but he was the one that directed it. And
he directed it.
Raythorn that
Right.
played him. I think I may have misspoke on that, but I don't remember. I also have The Departed, Martin Scorsese, on here, and Children of Men, Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah,
I'd like to say that sci-fi thriller was really interesting. And then I have two magic movies on here that deal with magic during Victorian times, and the cinematography is just really unique for this. And I have The Prestige, where Christopher Nolan directed, and The Illusionist with Neil Berger. And the cool thing about The Illusionist is I've actually been to the castle in Romania where some of that was.
Right on.
Or no, and I don't mean in Romania, in Czech Republic where some of it was filmed.
Yeah, they're both good films. I really like The Illusionist, especially. The Prestige is good too. They're both top notch. All right, I've got the film Once, about the Irish struggling musicians in Dublin. Kind of wonderful, charmer, inspiring kind of movie. I think it won Best Song that year. I got Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. I think it's
Nice.
a
Yeah.
hard-hitting classic Spanish masterpiece, man. It's tough to overlook. And the other two you guys mentioned, Children of Men, dystopian action thriller, Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, and Michael Caine. Yeah, 2 decades of infertility. There hasn't been a child born in like 20 years, and they're trying to protect the woman who somehow has gotten pregnant. And top-notch film for me is The Departed. I can never get enough of that. Martin Scorsese's Oscar-winning direction, fantastic Boston mob film, with the all-star cast that you guys referred to. So let's move on to 2007.
2007. I'll just jump right in, man. There's a couple back-to-backs that are pretty solid here, I think. So There Will Be Blood. I'm going to make my list. I got Daniel doing Peak on one side, and I got No Country for Old Men on the other side. Just terrorizing everybody. So those two were kind of like easy drops for me on 2007 and making my top 4 at least, my Mount Rushmore. I do have that Hot Fuzz, man. I can't get away from it there. So
Nice.
Something a little lighter. And this one might be my favorite of the series, but I got the Bourne Ultimatum too. So
Wow.
And maybe a little bit of a hot take, but it's I got American Gangster. I got a whole bunch of other movies I could have picked. It wasn't a bad year at all. 310. There's lots of good movies in here, but I'm gonna stick with one of my rewatchables. So
Absolutely.
I think it's arguably the best movie best year of the decade, 2007.
Loads of movies.
Yeah.
All right, what do you have, Brian?
Of course, I've got There Will Be Blood. One of my favorite movies of all time, and definitely my favorite movie that year. Daniel Day-Lewis is Daniel Plainview. Just incredible.
Yeah.
Paul Dano, whatever Quentin Tarantino wants to say, Paul did a great job in that film. No Country for Old Men, of course, Coen brothers here, Javier Bardem, great performance. I've got Zodiac here as well. I think it's really great take on the crime drama itself and some great performances. And I've got sci-fi here, Sunshine, starring like Chris Evans. It's got Benedict Wong in it as well. And it's a kind of little mini B-list all-star cast, I'll say. It's not the A-listers that are in there, but there's a whole bunch of those supporting actors that are all in this, in this film. And it's just something very interesting and powerful about the film that kind of talks about humanity and, on the brink of destruction, the things that we're willing to do and sacrifices we're willing to make to give humanity a second chance. So great movie.
Right on.
Okay. Randy.
I've got No Country for Old Men too from the Coen brothers. Like I said, Bardem was one of the best villains ever. Then I have 3 different ones here. I've got Michael Clayton, directed by Tony Gilroy, kind of a thriller about a corporate fixer that gets involved way over his head. Then I also have Eastern Promises, David Cronenberg, thriller about the Russian mob, and Viggo Mortensen's just fantastic.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then who would have thought there could be a charming comedy about a guy that his girlfriend is a sex doll, but that's Lars and the Real Girl. Greg Gillespie. It's a fantastic film, I think.
Wow. That was an interesting one. I've got There Will Be Blood. I have to put it on here, just mainly for Daniel Day-Lewis's performance. I mean, I don't necessarily love the movie, but I admire him so much as an actor and what he does to get into characters beyond belief. Every time out, every single performance is A+. I also have Zodiac, David Fincher's based on the real life serial killer, Zodiac killer, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, and Robert Downey Jr., 3 really solid actors. I have Michael Clayton, who I always have to trump up. George Clooney's best performance. Great support from Tilda Swinton and Tom Wilkinson as the lawyer turned fixer in the middle of a corporate corruption that he just gets drawn into. And my favorite, of course, is No Country for Old Men, the Coen brothers, with Tommy Lee Jones as the sheriff, Javier Bardem as the villain, and Josh Brolin, who finds this mountain of money, and it all is this web of intrigue that only the Coen brothers can tell. So there it is. Let's go on to 2008. To me, this is the worst year of the decade, but we'll see.
You think it's the worst year?
I think it is.
Is it because of semi-pro? Is that what it was? Is that the problem?
I don't know. Nothing was like head and shoulders above the others. I had to pick 4, so I went with the 4 I thought were the deserving ones. What do you have, Doc?
2008. Well, I got Clint's Gran Torino. That's going to make my list. I think that's man, it's a great performance from Clint there, man. I have The Dark Knight and the Batman series making my list for sure. It's the best of the trilogy to me still. And then the friggin' peak 2000 movie making, man. And this, like I told you before, doesn't have to be called Batman The Dark Knight, man. It could be whatever you want to call it, and Batman's in the movie. One of my favorite comedies still from the last 25 years or so. Tropic Thunder is going to make my list, man. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I have a lot of love for this movie. I can't help it. I grew up with some monster movies in my life, and I'm sticking with it. I'm putting Cloverfield on my list. I don't care. I think it's a great, great monster friggin' action movie in New York City. Let it ride. Cloverfield.
There you go.
Excellent.
Very good. All right. Brian, what do you think?
Well, Doc, you and I agree on 3 out of the 4.
No way.
The Dark Knight clearly had to be on here. I think Tour de Force from Heath Ledger, and even when Christian Bale tells you that as talented as he is, that he just could not keep up with his performance. It just tells you everything you need to know. I've got Gran Torino here as well.
Right on.
It's a great comeback movie for Clint in a lot of ways. It's one of my favorite in his latter catalog. I've got Tropic Thunder as well. I think the performances from Robert Downey Jr. as the blackface sergeant, and then Tom Cruise as the movie executive. At the end, listening to hip hop and dancing to Ludacris song, and it's just incredible. I've got a horror movie at my 4th one as well, but it's the original version of Let Me In, the foreign film Let the Right One In, about a girl vampire who moves next door to this little boy and befriends him, and a series of events ends up with them together at the end as she moves forward as an immortal in time. So had to have it in there. I really enjoyed the movie. So
very
good. I guess I have to watch Tropic Thunder again, because I liked it. I just didn't love it enough to elevate it to this level. So I need to look at that again. Yeah. All right, Randy, what do you have for 2008?
Let's see. I also have The Dark Knight, kind of a noirish superhero movie, I would call. Yeah. And then Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood's
right on.
Breakdown of Prejudice, kind of a unique film in that respect. And then I also have Let the Right One In from Thomas Alfredson. Nice. Unique. I haven't seen the American remake on this one, but I've seen the Swedish one. And then I have In Bruges, Martin McDonagh. It's kind of a unique hitman movie set in Belgium. That's my other one.
Nice.
All right. We got a couple of the same. I've got In Bruges also. I like these Martin McDonagh films. Most of the films he directs I'm into. So that was an easy call. Gran Torino has to be on my list. Classic Clint. Proving at age 78 at the time, he still can deliver the goods. What a performance. Humorous, touching, doing the right thing. I mean, I really admire Clint Eastwood. His latter day career is as good as anybody's. I've got Milk, starring Sean Penn as Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man elected to public office in San Francisco. Biographical drama, hard-hitting, and realistic. I put it on the list. I thought it was Sean Penn's just amazing in that movie. What he can do to a character, and believe it or not, I have The Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke, a once-in-a-lifetime performance. I really like Mickey Rourke in this. Some of the wrestling matches with the cutting and the steel cage match, and even his out of the ring stuff with his daughters is very heartfelt too. Marissa Tomei plays a friend, and she's a knockout in the movie, so that has to be on my list. Let's get to the last year of the decade, and that's 2009. Doc.
2009. wasn't a lot to choose from, but the choosing that I did, I liked. So it's I'm going to drop it in, man. The Hangover is going to make my list in the top 4. What a great comedy, man. It was tough to leave one other one off because I think it's kind of really well done. I like the rebirth of Star Trek, if you want the truth. So I got Star Trek dropping in here for me too in 2009. Can't get away from it, man. Avatar was still a masterpiece when it came out, and I'm dropping it. I don't care. That's the top 4 for me. Easily on my list, man. Inglourious Bastards from QT drops easy. So one of my favorite QT movies, man. So
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Great pick. All right, Brian, what do you have?
Yeah, since I think this was the weakest year of the decade.
Yeah.
Other than that's what I thought anyway. But I mean, I still like these movies, but by comparison, they wouldn't have made necessarily the top 4 in other years. But I do have Inglourious Bastards. That one probably would have stayed. It's clearly the best of that year, in my opinion. I've also got Star Trek, Doc. I think the remake is actually very good. I actually think Zach Quinto as Spock is maybe even a step up in acting ability anyway. As far as I know, Leonard Nimoy is heartfelt, but I feel like that was a step up. A great cast. I've got The Watchmen here, which is based on a graphic novel about a group of superheroes, basically, and I would think it's kind of the 1920s, 1930s. That's kind of interesting. And then I've got Zombieland here, which is kind of a comedic take again on the zombie genre, starring Woody Harrelson and I forget what the guy's name is. Jesse Eisenberg. Is that
Jesse Eisenberg. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're both hilarious in it, and the endless pursuit of Twinkies. And then there's a cameo with Bill Murray in there.
That's right.
Really, really interesting. When they asked Bill, what his greatest regret was when he was accidentally shot, he said Garfield.
Yeah, it's pretty funny stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Randy.
Well, this was a late addition to my 4, and that's because I just watched it for the first time, believe it or not, and that was Avatar, James Cameron's. I never watched it before for some reason, but it creates just an unbelievable new world.
Totally.
And then I have Inglourious Bastards, of course, too, from Quentin Tarantino. Great Christoph Waltz performance.
Awesome.
Christoph Waltz performance.
Right.
And then I have Up in the Air, Jason Reitman, another great George Clooney performance as he plays this corporate exec caught in a changing world that's kind of passing him by. And then I have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish film from Niels Upliv. And that's another one where I've seen the Swedish one, but I have not seen the American remake of it.
Yeah,
It's very good. I've seen the Swedish one too. They're both excellent. They really are. All right, I have The Hangover. To me, it's the funniest film of the decade for my sense of humor. The whole Vegas thing and the guy getting lost and the stripper and everything you can imagine. And then the photos at the end that credits tell the story of what really happened. That just cracks me up every time. Bradley Cooper and the gang. Just Ed Helms is very funny as well.
Oh yeah,
the whole troop of them. I got a movie here, The Messenger. I know it's not a rewatchable, but it is a hard-hitting flick about these U.S. casualty officers visiting the homes of the dead and just bringing the bad news to them. Ben Foster and Woody Harrelson. Just tremendous acting and a good script. I also have Up in the Air that Randy mentioned, Jason Reitman's comedy drama about corporate downsizing. Clooney, I like Vera Farmiga, Jason Bateman and Anna Kendrick, a nice cast, timely with the economy at the time and people getting laid off and so forth. And Inglourious Bastards for sure makes my list. Quentin Tarantino, one of my favorite movies of his, and in fact the only one of this decade that made my list, my Mount Rushmore, which is surprising. But
interesting.
And I like how he flips the script on reality. It's with Hitler and everything that goes on, it's just priceless.
Oh yeah.
The last scene with Christoph Waltz too is an all-timer.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So that has to be doing. Now, as a little bonus, we're going to do our Mount Rushmores of decade Top 4 films, in our opinion, of the entire decade. What do you got for me, Doc?
3 were really easy. So I got The Departed. I've got Inglourious Bastards. I've got No Country for Old Men. The 4th was really, really difficult. And if I think about it, I'm just going to go with it. I've got Mystic River on my top 4.
It's a good pick.
Interesting.
All right, Brian.
I've got There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men. It's really a shame both those came out in the same year, competing against each other.
Yeah.
I've also got The Departed, Doc, and I've got The Dark Knight as my 4th one. Yeah. So
Very good. How about you, Randy?
Well, I've got a couple Coen brothers. I've got No Country for Old Men, and I've also got Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I just love that film. And then I have The Departed and The Dark Knight.
Right on.
Wow, a lot of crossover. I've got No Country for Old Men and The Departed. To me, those are 1 and 2 on my list. I also have Almost Famous, because I probably rewatched that as much as any movie this decade. And my 4th one is the sleeper, Road to Perdition.
Nice.
Love it. And it's going to make my list. I think it's that good of a flick. So
Right
that
on.
wraps it up for the 2000s. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Anybody out there wants to leave some feedback and some comments, give us your 4 films from each year and your overall Mount Rushmore of the decade. We would appreciate that. I know this ran a little long, but it's a decade. So we squeezed the decade into 51 minutes. So there you go. Check out Randall Nelson's channel, Brian at Massey's Main Entertainment. We will see you back next time with a different topic. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.